Alright, this is ISI 2006, question number 29. Given that f is a real value differentiable function such that f of x into f prime x is less than 0 for all real x, it follows that. So, f of x is increasing, decreasing. If this will happen if f prime is positive, f prime need not be positive. f prime नेगेटिव हो सकता है, f of x पॉजिटिव, f prime नेगेटिव हो सकता है, f prime can also be negative. Okay, so neither of this thing is true. Now let's look at the function mod x. Okay, so the function mod x is basically uh, f of x if f of x is greater than 0 and minus f of x if f of x is less than 0. Okay, so mod fx is basically equal to f of x if f of x is positive and minus f of x if f of x is negative. So let me call this as function g of x. So g prime of x will be equal to f prime of x if f of x is positive and minus f prime of x if f of x is negative. Okay, so the function g of x, g prime of g of x का differentiation is f prime x when f of x is positive and minus f prime x if f of x is negative. Now if f of x is positive, it should imply that f prime should be negative. Okay, so whenever f of x is positive, this thing has to be negative. Okay, which implies that g prime of x is negative. So this implies that g prime of x is negative if f of x is positive. Okay, and when f of x itself is negative, f prime of x should be positive. Alright, because the multiplication has to be negative. So f prime x has to be positive whenever f of x is negative. So minus f prime of x will be negative. So this entire thing will become negative. So g prime of x will be again negative if f of x is negative. So g prime of x, no matter what the value of f of x is, it is always negative. So g prime of x is always negative, so that's why the function g of x is a decreasing function.